Hey, what's up everyone? It's Dendy. I figured that I would do an audio recording just to kind of catch up with you guys and talk over this piece. Sorry in advance for if the birds are chirping, I have 2 parrots, or if there's any work going on outside, if my voice is kind of scratchy, if I'm sniffling. It's cold here in Michigan. It sucks. And I'm also kind of speaking softly. So, because the walls are paper thin in my apartment. So, sorry in advance if any of that stuff, bothers you. I'm going to go into the origin of this piece, which is that my mom works with a man whose wife passed away a few years ago, and she and him went to France on their honeymoon, and they stayed in this gorgeous Tudor-style house, and they rescued a stork. So the man requested to have the house, the stork, and, his wife who passed away all in the photo. And I ran into the issue of not knowing exactly how to go about this, because the original images that I were given, 2 of which were in black and white, and 1 of them was in color. The one that was in color was of his wife, maybe a decade ago, and that was in color. And the other 2, when she was younger, when they were on their honeymoon, are in black and white. So I guess the biggest challenge for me with this piece was trying to convert the tones of a black and white image to color given off of a completely different image, and I only had 3 to work off of. And also, I've never really done landscape, photos before. I'm really bad at backgrounds, which is something that I really want to work on more this year, just because I need to get good at it, because it's starting to become more and more of an issue when I get commissions where I'm just, doing portraits and I don't know what to do with the background. And most of the time I can get away with doing something simple, but I really want to push the envelope with myself this year with what I can do and my abilities, because I know that I can do it. I just have no practice. Also, I've never really digitally painted feathers before. I've painted feathers traditionally with oil paints, and Procreate and oil paints are 2 completely different beasts. So that was also kind of difficult. So I guess I'll just go into depth with what I'm doing. Going over with the hair, I went through and I picked some of the lightest values from the original colored image, and then I took some of the darkest values from the colored image and I just added them in, just kind of going in blobs in the general direction of which, her hair and her curls were laying. And I began to blend them with some of the general painting brushes and the brushes that come with Procreate under the panel. And I made sure to go through with some textured brushes, and then I went through with some charcoals before I went in for with the finer highlights. And I just essentially I used the same 3 or 4 colors for every single bit of the hair. And then for the house, for the landscaping, I was having a lot of issues here. Not only with the perspective, just because, I've always had issues with just big triangular shapes, so I try to distract myself by working on the stork, which I found to also be difficult. So then I bounced over into trying to do the background. I was just literally scrambling to try to find something to do to procrastinate against, doing anything to do with the dress or the stork. So, and that's what you can see is happening here. And I ended up realizing, some part through that maybe, adding some solid and hard lines wouldn't be that bad of an idea. And so I figured out what to do with the bricks for the brick-laid road, and I took the heavy rain option from one of the panels that comes with the Procreate brushes, and I went through and I picked, brick colors, and I put the pressure density up very high, and I went through and just layered that. And then how I did the wood paneling was I took the rectangle tool and I just began to just fine tune it, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, just over and over again until I got the effect that I wanted. And I feel like I could have gone through and done the shadowing a little bit more fine. However, I was just really stressed out at this point about it, and I just wanted to just stop thinking about it. But after I added the noise effect over the dress, I feel like it ended up working out pretty well, so I'm not that upset about it. And I tried watching a few YouTube tutorials about how to do the feathers for the stork, and I ended up not liking any of them. So, you know, as you can see, I went through and added the solid colors. And I'm pretty sure that I took a charcoal brush and I began to blend them out and soften them. And then I would take the blending tool off and use the same charcoal brush, and I would go through and I would add the darker feathers, just going back and forth using the same charcoal brush and just blending, adding darker values, blending, building the values over and over again until I kind of got that feathery-esque texture. And then for her hands, I tried doing her hands, you know, just by eye, and then I ended up just taking a photo and sending it to myself from the original image, and just going through and adding the colored values over top the black and white values and just blending from there until the original hand couldn't be visible anymore. And then I redid the background as well because I thought that there was just too much saturation going on, and that's it. I changed out the water detail just simply because I didn't like it. And yeah, I think that's about it. I'll definitely do a more in-depth, you know, tutorial another time. I just wanted to say hi and just pop in. Alright, bye guys.